Ladies and gentlemen of Knucklehead Nation, welcome to episode number 33 of the Fighters Rep podcast. I'm your host, George, the Fighters Rep Fez, joined as always by my number one henchman, a guy who will do pretty much anything I ask, so you better behave yourselves. Gary, ignorant behavior. Gary, how you doing, man?
I'm good. How you doing, man?
Good, man. Good. Let me tell you, this is a very busy in boxing, Gary. I'm not sure you've been looking at the schedule or not, but it's a very busy upcoming few weeks. And today I wanted to take the time on episode 33 to preview Canelo versus Munguía. And we got to make a prediction. As you can see, that's why we have the 124 karat gold Fighters Rep Fez prediction Fez on. And it's like a genie in there trying to get in there. The only way to get in there is drinking alcohol. And then Tyson versus Jake Paul, man. Did you hear the news that it's going to be an officially sanctioned pro bout that's actually going to count towards their careers? Very, very strange times we're living in. Very strange times we're living in, Gary. But
money talks, bullshit walks.
yeah. So to me, but especially based on my experience. But let's start with Canelo versus Munguía, man. This is a fight, we've obviously been talking about for quite a bit. It could be a passing of the torch, or it could just be Canelo Alvarez continuing to show that he's just a level above most of these guys. It goes down this weekend, May 4th. Not really Cinco de Mayo, Cuatro de Mayo, but close enough, right? So, I don't know. What are your thoughts on this fight, Gary? Preview, prediction time.
For me, I think Canelo's gonna win. I think Canelo stops him. I don't think the kid doesn't have a chance, because the kid is a big, strong kid with a lot of power. But I just feel like defensively, he has a lot of holes. Him being a tall fighter, he don't really use his length. He likes to infight. He likes to trade with people, and I just seen Canelo has been around the block, experienced. Seen him trade with Triple G, who's supposed to be a hard hitter. I seen him go with John Ryder, and I know people, Munguía stopped Ryder. But you seen Canelo, he's willing to do that too, but he's a little bit more defensively sound. He's a more of a veteran fighter. He's been in there with Mayweather. He's been in there with anybody you could think of. You know what I mean? Kovalak. He's been in there with a lot of guys. Bivol. So I just think he stops him probably. I want to say maybe like 6th, 7th. I'm going 6, 7.
6 or 7. I mean, that's understandable. I mean, I kind of agree with you, man. I'm feeling Canelo, is still, he's still Canelo, man. He's 33 years old. He's a bit older than he was, but I still think he's that guy, man. That being said, though, man, I don't know. I'm getting, excuse me. Excuse me. I'm getting a little funky feeling about this fight, man. I really think Munguía is a tough kid that is his youth, which is his main advantage in this fight besides size, right? He's got youth on his side. He's 27 years old to Canelo's 33. He's got 21 less fights than Canelo, which is still significant, right? Because Canelo has 64. Gary Munguía has 43. So he's got a lot less miles on the odometer. You know what I mean? So I feel like if he can get that engine going, right? I don't know if Canelo Oldsmobile or his Cadillac is going to be able to keep up with that younger Corvette, if you know what I mean. Assuming Munguía uses that strategy, which I think would be his best strategy in the fight. You mentioned defensive holes. I mean, is there something you're seeing in Munguía in this fight that has you concerned for him? And what do you think is his key to winning this fight? You know, if you're Munguía, how do you advise him on going ahead and winning this?
Well, I think defensively, he the holes I see is, I mean, obviously he's flat-footed. He's not on his toes. He doesn't have really great feet. He doesn't move his head off the center line. A lot of times he throws shots. He's there to be countered, and that's how sometimes he gets caught with good shots and get hurt, because he got power, and he can get really reckless too when he thinks he has you hurt. Against Ryder, his last fight, he kind of tried to fight against that recklessness, because he had Ryder a couple times and he kind of was a little bit more patient than normal.
Yeah.
But he can get into a firefight and wants to go and leaves himself unprotected for the counter and get and the ability to get hurt, and especially when he thinks he has you hurt. So I mean, I mean, and I think Canelo's going to take advantage of that. If it was me, I would, because he's a bigger guy, longer guy. I don't know if he can, but if he stays behind his jab and kind of try to back Canelo up off the jab and catch Canelo trying to come in because he's a smaller guy, try to do that a little bit, try to push him back. Like I thought with some of the success Bivol had, because he was a bigger guy, pushing Canelo back sometimes. Sometimes he let Canelo walk forward. Sometimes he pushed Canelo against the ropes. He hit him with the jab, 1-2, sometimes a couple combinations on the rope and then back off. Bivol never got carried away. He got in there, got what he could, and came back out. You know what I mean? And, you know, I think the kid, because he's what, 6'1"? You got? I'm sorry, I don't see you right now. I don't know if it's me or you. Can you see me? You got me?
Looks like our reception is a little weak. Yeah, can you see me?
Yeah. Is it me or you?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you now.
All of a sudden, the reception went.
Yeah, hold on. Let me see if it's me.
Can you hear me now?
You got me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I got you. I
don't know what's going on, man.
I don't know.
Like,
yeah, that was weird.
The speed's okay, but from what I'm seeing, Munguía, 6 feet tall, Canelo only 5'8", Gary.
What's the reach difference?
You know, it's a lot less significant than you would expect. 72 inches versus 70.5. So this guy only has a 1.5 inch reach advantage, and you know that's actually the wingspan. You know what I mean? That's not
yeah.
So,
and you know, like the height plays a difference too, because you're shooting up versus him coming down. Because I think that even had an effect with the Ryan Garcia, Devin Haney, because even Devin Haney still had longer arms. Ryan Garcia was a little taller. So you got to shoot up. But I mean, I don't know. I see Canelo hurting him to the body too, because Canelo, he'll take you to the body, then back up to the top. I would just say Munguía to be a little bit more defensively responsible, have a little patience like he did with Ryder. You know what I mean? Stay behind that jab, try to get Canelo coming in, try to back him up sometimes, but don't get too carried away with keeping him on the ropes, because that's how Canelo's going to catch you with something. Like I said, one of the things I thought Bivol did really well was get in, hit you a couple times, and get out.
Get on the bike.
Get off. Yeah. Because you stay in there, Canelo's gonna hit you with a trap, and he's very good. Canelo's very good at infighting, but you can't let him stalk you the whole fight either, though.
Yeah. I think he's got to hit. I think he's got to hit Canelo with some power to keep him honest too. So he doesn't stalk, right? And I think I'm with you, man. I think Munguía. I think he needs to throw long combos and move around. Long combos and move around. I think he needs to keep the pace high, because if we've ever seen a weakness in Canelo, at least in my opinion, is that he does get tired. He tends to gas towards the middle of the fight and then take a break and then kind of come on strong at the end. I don't know if that's still an issue, but I would imagine at 33 years of age with 1,000,000 miles on the odometer, 63 fights, or what is it, 63, 64 fights? Yes.
I didn't even realize I didn't realize he had that many fights.
Gary, he's got as many fights as the Nintendo 64 had bits in it, brother. 64.
Yeah, I didn't even
So,
realize he had that many.
that's a lot of fights, man, and that's a lot of miles on the odometer. And I do think, that's the way to beat him, man. Be long, throw combos, and keep that pace super fast, man. But so the prediction is, I mean, what what round you got Canelo getting him out of there? How would you say is the fashion that he gets him out of there?
I said about, I think I said it earlier, about round 6 or 7.
That's an early night.
Yeah, just because it could be different,
Yeah,
just because I think Munguía, he's gonna get caught into, like, I'm watching him fight and things. He'll get caught up into a firefight, and that's the wrong thing to do in this situation. Is get in a firefight. That's how we got hurt against what's his name, Sergey. I don't know how to pronounce his last name.
Derevianchenko.
That's how he got hurt. That's how he got hurt a few times in that fight.
Yeah.
They're getting into firefights, and he's getting caught countered, and he's getting hurt. He's getting hit, and you do that with Canelo. One thing, Canelo's like Bud. He's a finisher. He's gonna finish you. If you don't run, he's gonna finish you. You know what I mean? So, and I just see him getting caught. I see him countering. I see him landing some good shots on. I ain't gonna lie. I won't rule it all out from the kid, because, man, that kid throws. You want to talk about throws power, man? That kid.
Yeah.
Hey, he's throwing with ill intent with everything. You know what I mean? So I never seen Canelo really hurt. I know before earlier they said I didn't see that fight. I seen a highlight of him stumble or something like he was hurt. I didn't see that fight. I've never seen him really go. I seen him go against big punchers, and I never really seen him in a bunch of trouble. So if this kid can do it, but the kid can bang for sure.
Yeah. And your chin's got to go at some point. I mean, Father Time's undefeated, but as long as Canelo, his defense is sound, which it typically is, I don't see that really happening here. I feel like my brain is telling me, Canelo maybe clips him out of there in the later rounds. But my heart is telling me that this kid is tough, that we haven't really been seeing Canelo finish a lot of guys lately. Matter of fact, when's the last time Canelo got a finish? He's got 4 unanimous decisions in a row, with the first one being the loss to Dimitri Bivol. So before that, the only finish he had before that, or the most recent one, was Caleb Plant back in 2021, which Gary's been almost 3 years now. I'm gonna say now that you've really got me thinking about this. I'm gonna say I can see Munguía going the distance, and I can see him making it. I can see him making it ugly. I mean, he might get clipped out of there in the later rounds, but I'm gonna go ahead and make the crazy prediction that this is gonna be a great fight. That I think it's gonna go the distance. And I'm just gonna put it out there, man. I think Munguía is gonna make this a great fight. Why? Because he's so much younger, 6 years younger. He's got a lot less wear and tear on him. What scares me is, like you said, Sergey Derevianchenko, hurting him bad. I mean, if Canelo hits him with one of those shots, it is over in the 6th or 7th round, like you said, Big Dog. But, bro, like, this guy just had a baby. This is his opportunity of a lifetime. And I just think he's going to go out on his shield if he goes out. So I'm going to say this ends up being a decision win for Canelo, probably a closer fight than people realize. But Canelo still gets the win just because he's also had 4 unanimous decisions in a row, Gary.
Well, I'll say this about him not having a knockout in a while. I do believe, obviously. Is that for the hat? The prediction hat? I'll say
anything is funny to us at this point, bro.
I'll say this. I'll say those other fights, like, you He had Ryder, who's a tough guy. He didn't get him out of there. He had
and Ryder got taken
Char-
out by Munguía. Bro.
Yeah. I know everybody's gonna compare that.
Brought that up to me. You just reminded me of that.
Yeah. He fought Charlo, who I didn't feel like wanted to engage in the fight. Obviously, I felt like he could have finished Charlo if Charlo would have tried to fight him instead of try to survive. So I don't hold that against Canelo. Obviously, he lost against Bivol. Bivol, I think, just better than him at this point with the size and everything. I don't know who's the other one that he didn't finish. Who else did he? Because I know he finished Billy. He finished Caleb and he finished Billy Joe.
It was Charlo. It was Ryder, who he couldn't finish. That we said was a common opponent. It was Golovkin in their third fight with a Golovkin that was well past his best. Right?
Yeah, but has anybody knocked him out though?
Yeah, that's true. Golovkin.
Nobody's finished Golovkin.
Yeah, Golovkin's made out of something else, man. That guy's special. And then the Bivol. So
yeah, that's what I'm saying. So we really looked at it. If we really look at it, I mean, obviously he lost to Bivol. Golovkin ain't nobody. I haven't seen nobody really seriously hurt him.
No, I haven't either.
And Ryder's a tough guy, right? Now Munguía got him out of there, but Ryder's a tough guy, and then Charlo just ran the whole fight. So I think that's the reason why Canelo picked Munguía, because Munguia's not running. You know, Munguia's gonna, like you say, down the shield. We're gonna slug it out. And if you get me, you get me.
He's about that shit, bro. He's going down on his fucking shield, bro. I love that shit, bro.
Yeah. So I think that's the kind of fights that Canelo wants. He doesn't want especially since how you brought up, like, he's getting older. I don't want to have time to be chasing these guys around the ring. He's wearing knee braces now and shit. Yeah. Like, come on, man. Like, are we gonna fight here or whatever?
He wants an older woman that gets right to the point. He's tired of chasing.
Hey, yeah. Hey, you know, when we get older, we ain't trying to chase. Look, baby, what you want? You want your bills, babe?
We earned all this gray through chasing, man. We're done with that shit. So
yeah, exactly. So you want your fish right there. He'll wrestle you for it or something. He'll fight a bear, but I don't want to have to go.
Not
but yeah, you know, I just feel like that's one of the reasons why he picked this fight, a more entertaining fight, which I do think is going to be entertaining. And I do think even if Canelo knocks him out, I still think it's going to be a close fight, because I just see him landing shots on Canelo, and I see that ultimately getting his confidence up and getting just countered and getting rocked by something that he didn't see, and Canelo finishing him. Because once Canelo sees you hurt, he goes in for the kill.
It's a wrap. Yeah. So there we go. Those are our predictions for Canelo versus Munguía, which goes down on Saturday. Guys, if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel. Join the channel. It's just $9.99 a month to help us continue to build. And get your merchandise at fightersrep.com or in the link below. And don't forget the most important thing, Gary. Get your tickets to Fighters Rep 23 and 24 on June 1st in Pompano Beach, Florida. And on June 8th at the beautiful Commerce Casino in California. We got some of the best fights in striking lined up for you, and we're going to be previewing that probably later this week. I'm going to have to bother Gary some more to do a preview of a couple of these cards, so definitely stay tuned for that. And again, don't forget to subscribe and comment. Let us what you think. Let us know what you think about Canelo versus Munguía below. Give us your prediction. I'm excited to hear what you guys think. On to the next topic, Gary, and this one's pretty interesting. The Mike Tyson versus Jake Paul, what feels more like a sideshow to me, if I'm being honest with you, is actually going to be treated and classified as a sanctioned professional fight by Texas's Department of Licensing and Regulations, which is essentially the sanctioning body in the state of Texas. A little bit of information, Gary. Let me give you a little bit of background information. It's going to be a heavyweight fight, right? So typically heavyweight would be over 200 pounds.
Mhm.
And I wanted to say Jake was fighting at like what 185 before. Was he fighting at 200? Maybe I'm wrong
He
about that.
No, he didn't fight at 200 before. I think he fought at like 190 before, and I want to say
Okay.
180, around 190, 180.
Okay.
I think he's been fighting at different like weird weights, whatever, having he match
Yeah.
up the fight or something like that.
Yeah. And then it's going to be contested over the course of 8 rounds that are 2 minutes each, right? With 14-ounce gloves. So not a 12-round fight, 8-round, respectable. 8 rounds is respectable. I guess that's okay considering Jake Paul's still sort of new to the sport and Tyson is 57 years old, Gary.
Yeah.
And you know, I wanted to touch on the 2-minute round thing because typically it's 3 minutes. So they're sanctioning as a professional fight, but typically 2-minute rounds are reserved for amateur fights. And I know that because
And
Gary, we
women.
do what's that?
I said, and women.
Right. So typically we do pro-ams, we do amateur fights as well at Fighters Rep. And that's one of the main differences between the pro and the amateur kickboxing is it's 2 minutes versus 3-minute rounds. So I just find it very interesting that it's 2-minute rounds. And then the other thing is the use of the 14-ounce gloves. I mean, that's even more amateurish than the amateurs, right? Because here's what I'll say, and I'm speaking from my experience as a promoter in the state of California, but and Florida, but I want to say that most of the states are probably going to be pretty uniform on this, and that is that the gloves, as far as ounces go, in California, when you're doing an amateur bout, is 10 ounces. In Florida, it's actually a little bit more. It's 12 ounces, but that's for an amateur bout, Gary.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean? The only time I even see 12 ounces in the state of California is when you go to heavyweight amateurs, right? But as far as I know, the pro fights in California, which we've done, it's if you're over 147, if you're over welterweight, it's only 10 ounces. If you're under that, it's 8 ounces. So the fact that they're using 14 ounce gloves, I mean, these are basically sparring gloves, man.
Yeah, yeah.
So
Because spar with 16s.
yeah. So these are close to sparring gloves for all of you out there that don't really aren't really versed in this kind of stuff. And 2-minute rounds is very amateurish. 14 ounces is beyond amateurish, and just very odd that this would be considered a pro bout. What are your thoughts on that, Gary?
I mean, I think it's a money thing, to get money, and I also think because for Jake Paul, okay, obviously he gets to add to his record or whatever, right? Against a 56-year-old man, but he gets to add to his record.
57.
Oh, 57, okay, and blow up his record. So I think
Yeah.
that was more of a push for Jake Paul than Mike Tyson. I don't think Mike Tyson cares if it's sanctioned or not. You got the
Yeah.
money, we can do this money thing, and we can do it. I don't care. I don't think Mike Tyson cares if he gets another loss on his record.
And
He cares about the money. Huh?
By the way, Gary, I hate to cut you off, but by the time Tyson enters the ring, July 20th, he'll actually be 58. And Jake Paul will be 27 years old, less than half his age, bro.
Yeah. Exactly. So my whole point is I think Tyson don't really care if he gets another loss. At this point, why would you care? You got 6 losses. If I get another loss, but I can get a bag, I'm going to get the bag. Obviously, I think even though money talks, I think they probably had to do some of these things to get it. I don't know. You could tell me, you're a promoter, how the athletic commissions work and stuff like that. Maybe to get it sanctioned as a real fight, and they didn't want to be like, oh, this 58-year-old man got killed out here.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. Maybe I don't know how it works, but in my mind, my logic is just like, well, maybe they don't want to be, say it's a sanctioned fight and they go 3-minute rounds with 10-ounce gloves and Mike Tyson gets hurt because he is going to be 58 or whatever. And you're looked at as hell liable because everybody's like, oh, Mike Tyson's going to knock out Jake Paul. Jake Paul is 27 years old and he's faster. He's strong.
And Gary, that 31-year disparity in age is the biggest in the history of professional boxing.
Yeah. And so this is what I'm saying. Jake Paul is 27 years old. He's strong. He's fast at his age. You know, he's at his prime as a man. You're at your prime around there. And Mike Tyson is, even though he's a supreme athlete, he's gifted and everything, he's still 58. And you know, and the thing is, with 14-ounce gloves, I don't think anybody's getting knocked out. I mean, if Mike Tyson knocks him out with 14-ounce gloves, then I mean, that shows you how hard that dude is.
Gary, people can get knocked out in sparring, bro. People can get knocked out in sparring.
I know they can get knocked out in sparring, but I'm equating it with him being 58 years old. He's 58 years old, and you know what I'm saying. And you're getting 14-ounce gloves, so. I'm not saying you can't get knocked out with him. Yeah. It's harder to.
Yeah. You know, I'm not, you know, it's always been my understanding, right? And I could be wrong, but, you know, this is more promoter speak here, is I always thought if it's not a pro bout, which means it's not exactly according to the rules of a professional fight, you know, 3-minute rounds, 10-ounce gloves or whatever, my understanding is it's automatically an exhibition bout, right? So it's kind of funky to me how they've been able to like create like a hybrid, or maybe that's just a thing that happens in Texas, or it could be that I am totally wrong about this. But it was my understanding that, you know, if it's not per the rules, right? If you're making adjustments and adding different things in there that's not typical of a pro fight, then it should be considered an exhibition bout. But, you know, I guess it's more at stake with them, you know, making
money, man, money.
Pro bout.
Money, man. Hey, it's not surprising to me or weird to me. I don't know the ins and outs of how every state commission works, but I know how money works everywhere. Hey, the green works everywhere, brother. And you can get something done, you get it done. And this is a big enough fight, and you know, it's just, you know, even, you know, certain things that they do on with these MMA fighters, which we all know one of these MMA fighters could seriously get hurt one day doing this stuff. You know what I mean?
Well, let me ask you about that, right? Because that's kind of what we're segueing into here. You know, I know a lot of people are saying, you know, Tyson, you know, is going to knock him out or whatever. But my worry is that Mike Tyson gets hurt bad in this fight, right? That's my worry. You know, as much of a beast as he is, as much as I respect him, you know, back to what you stated earlier, this dude is 58 years old fighting a 27-year-old. And, you know, Jake Paul, you know, as you know, maybe YouTuber as he is, you know, this is going to be his 11th pro fight, I think, you know, and I think he's done a lot of training, and he's shown that right hand can knock people the fuck out, right? So what scares me is he lands a big right hand on Mike Tyson over the course of this fight, you know, and, you know, perhaps it damages Tyson, you know what I mean? Who's a guy who's already taken a lot of punishment in his career, and then is also a guy who does, you know, a lot of drugs according to kind of his own, you know, what he said. And he's 50, right, and he's 58 years old, so I don't know, you know, how safe this whole situation is. And I don't think, you know, I'll be honest with you, I don't think the 14-ounce gloves, I mean, maybe they cushion the blow a little bit, right? But they also create a huge surface area, right? And, you know, kind of goes to that argument we've been making forever that got headgear banned from the Olympics, where, you know, a lot of people thought the headgear was safer. It turned out to cause more concussions and brain damage, and they banned it from the Olympics. So I'm a little bit worried. And then the other thing, Gary, one thing that I noticed as a promoter of amateur kickboxing as well, is that in those 2-minute rounds, a lot of the times you don't have time to feel out, right? So those guys get out there and they get it, bro. They get right after it. And, you know, if Paul is treating it with that sort of urgency, he might be trying to, you know, clip Tyson out of there. The same thing could happen to Paul, right? But I just don't see. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong, but it's hard for me to see a 58-year-old man, even if it's Mike Tyson, clipping out Jake Paul versus Jake Paul doing it to him. You know,
I can see him. I can see Mike Tyson hurting Jake Paul, not like he dropping him or anything, but catching him with a shot and Jake Paul. You see Jake Paul grab or run away real quick.
Yeah.
I can see that, but I just think that Mike Tyson, after all the years of boxing, and I still think he knows more about boxing, more knowledge, more skillful technique than Jake Paul. So I think he's going to be able to protect himself enough, especially after watching him with Roy Jones Jr. and things like that. And I think he'll be able to protect himself enough and have still a higher intellect than Jake Paul, enough to survive the fight where he doesn't get knocked out.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think it's gonna be a real entertaining fight. I think most people are gonna be sitting around waiting for Tyson to knock out Jake Paul, which is never gonna happen. And Jake Paul is gonna pretty much get in there, try to put on a show, but then he's gonna feel Tyson power a little bit, and he's gonna start like moving away. He may get caught here and there. He may catch Tyson here and there, but I don't really think it's gonna be a very exciting fight what people think it's gonna be. I think because people see Mike Tyson. We watched Mike Tyson and Roy Jones. That was horrible, right? Yeah. Neither one of them look like they should be boxing.
Back in 2022, right? I think it's been 4 years since that too. I mean, he's not getting any better.
Yeah, as I'm saying, that was horrible. Yeah. And now he's going. Now, obviously, Roy knows how to. Roy also has a superior intellect and knows how to. Like he said, every time Tyson came in, I'll just hook his arm. You're not hitting me, and I think they kind of had some gentleman's agreement, like, "Hey, we ain't trying to knock each other out." Yeah. But I just think this is a way for Jake Paul to pad his stats. And just when I start to try to take Jake Paul a little serious, he pulls this shit, and it's just like,
it's money. Let him make his money. Let the man make his money.
Yeah, but then don't ask me to take you seriously, then.
Yeah.
Because you're making your money, but you saying take me seriously.
I just hope after this fight, he goes and fights like he continues to fight boxers, but like not geriatric boxers, like boxers that are, more closer to his age, and actually try to be like a contender. I think that would be interesting.
Yeah, I would root for him. I don't dislike the guy or nothing.
Yeah.
I like how he came about, how he got interested in the sport, everything. But if you're just gonna be an exhibition fighter, be that and leave it at that. Don't try to tell me. Don't piss in my face and tell me it's rain, bro. Okay. Like, bro, if you say you really about this, I don't mind if you fight tomato cans at first, because most people do that. You know what I mean? You don't have an extensive amateur career or anything like that, so I don't care if you do that. Just make them real boxers your age. But like, I mean, I think he can learn something in there with Tyson a little bit, because Tyson, like I said, I still think Tyson has the higher intellect as far as boxing goes against.
But you know what? I don't think Tyson has that gives Paul a tremendous advantage in this fight. The energy healer in his corner. Man, I need an energy healer, big dog. I need an energy healer, bro.
Man, hey, we all do at this age.
Bro. Anyway, you'd have gotten beat up growing up the way we did, telling people you got an energy healer. But anyway, I'm going to let that one go. Could be an interesting fight. I'm going to give my prediction, man. I see Jake Paul winning by decision, and that's kind of what I'm hoping for. I don't want to see Tyson, get knocked out, bro, at 58 years old. I don't want to see that.
I'm not going to lie to you. I want to see a knockout. I don't think it's going to happen. Anytime I see a fight, I want to see a knockout. I mean, we're considered adults here, but like I said, I don't think it's going to happen. Like, honestly, I don't want to see Tyson get hurt. And, and I just don't think he's going to knock out Jake Paul. I mean, I think, could he win the fight? I think he could probably win the fight. I think he could probably win the fight, not knock him out, but just win the fight just off of being a vet, understanding a little bit more about boxing than Jake. But I just see it, like you said, I see Jake Paul by decision. He gets caught with a couple shots and go, oh, old guy can still hit.
Yeah, yeah.
Because you know they say that power don't never leave you. So I see him go, oh shit. I'm glad those 14-ounce gloves.
It either never leaves you or it's like the last thing to go. So
yeah.
Well, anyway, just a heads up about what's going on, Gary, between now and next month, man. So we've got Alvarez Munguía on Saturday. 2 days later, which I guess would be a Monday, the monster fights. Naoya Inoue takes on Luis Neri. Just 5 days after that, on May 11th, Lomachenko.
I didn't know he was fighting. Sorry about that. I didn't know he was fighting.
Lomachenko takes on Kambosos Jr. on May 11th, which is an interesting fight for a vacant IBF lightweight title. Then we've got May 18th in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. They're getting the bag. It's Alexander Usyk versus Tyson Fury. This is all. We're still in May here. May 25th, then, we got Josh Taylor versus Jack Catterall, which is a rematch that, I'm excited to watch.
Mm-hmm.
And then June 1st, a real big one. Dmitry Bivol versus Artur Beterbiev for the light heavyweight championship. June 15th, your boy and mine, Gervonta Tank Davis, taking on Frank Martin. Should be an interesting one. And then Juan Francisco Estrada versus Jesse Bam Rodriguez on June 29th. So May and June is for huge boxing and kickboxing fans.
When does Zhang and Deontay Wilder fight? Is that July?
I'm not sure. Let me see. I think they're
doing
that.
Right after.
They're part of that 5 versus 5.
Yeah. I thought it was gonna be in July.
We'll check it out. I'm gonna look it up. Bro. I'm sure we can. Oh yeah, I'm seeing. It says June 1st. So,
yeah, that's what I thought. I thought it was in June or July.
Well, that's going to be. I would imagine that's going to be on the undercard of Bivol versus Beterbiev. I think that's what.
Oh, it is. Okay.
Yeah, and there's going to be. I mean, that's going to be one of the most amazing cards if Wilder and freaking Zhang are on the undercard of that. You know what I mean?
You hear if Wilder beats Zhang, they're talking about him fighting a Big Baby.
That would be a good fight too, man. I would love to see that. You think Big Baby's ready for all that power though, bro?
I just got to know where his head at because his last fight was kind of a snooze fest. It wasn't really all that impressive. And then him getting in trouble with the cops and lately, I don't know. I'm a fan of his, but lately it's like I gotta see a little bit more.
I hear you. I mean, for me, he was like the next big American heavyweight hopeful. He was the guy. So we'll see, man. We'll see. I was thinking him and maybe Richard Torres were going to be the next kind of big American heavyweights, but I guess if they don't behave themselves, maybe that's why he's Big Baby. He needs a spanking to behave himself. But anyway, man, that's all we got for you guys tonight. We're packing it in, but we appreciate you guys. Please comment, like, share, subscribe to the channel, join the channel, help me continue to build. I don't want to work a full-time job anymore. Gary doesn't want to work a full-time job anymore. We're way too tired to be doing that and all this shit at the same time. So help us out, and we appreciate you. Gary, thank you so much for your time, man. I appreciate you.
Yeah, man. Appreciate you, man.
All right, man.
Yeah.